You've been told strength is something you build by moving. More reps, more sets, more weight added every single week until your body finally breaks down and forces you to stop. That belief is why so many people spend years in a gym and still feel breakable the moment life stops cooperating, the moment they have to carry something awkward, brace against something unexpected, hold a position they never trained for. Look at the surviving statues of Greek athletes. Broad shoulders, dense, corded forearms, almost no chest to speak of. These men never bench pressed. They never did a single set of curls in front of a mirror. And yet, their bodies were built for something modern training rarely even attempts. Strength you can hold. Not just strength you can move. Here's the part almost nobody tells you. We don't have to guess how they trained. A Greek physician wrote it down. His name was Galen, born in Pergamon in the 2nd century AD, and behind Hippocrates, he is the most influential doctor of the ancient world. In a treatise called De Sanitate Tuenda, on the preservation of health, he catalogued the exact exercises used by wrestlers in the Greek palaestra, sorted into 3 categories: strong, rapid, and violent. Under strong, one pattern jumps out immediately. Hold after hold after hold. Barely any movement at all. Subscribe now, because we are going through all 6, in order, and by the end you will understand why a body trained to be still could outbrace, outgrip, and outlast almost anything the modern gym produces. The first hold needed nothing but a beam and your own body weight. Galen calls it hanging onto a rope or bar for as long as possible, what we'd call a dead hang today. Simple, brutal. Here's why it worked. Tendons, the tissue connecting muscle to bone, don't respond to how much weight you move. They respond to how long they stay under tension. Muscle can grow in weeks. Tendon takes months, sometimes years, because it has almost no blood supply. A dead hang forces every fiber in your forearms, shoulders, and back to stay loaded without a single second of rest, exactly the stimulus tendons need. And reps alone will never give it to them. There's a reason this obsession with grip mattered so much to the Greeks. In 2015, a study published in The Lancet tracked nearly 140,000 people across 17 countries and found that grip strength predicted death from any cause more accurately than blood pressure did. The Greeks couldn't have known the science, but they built their training around the same signal, that the strength of your grip says something about the strength of everything else. To build it today, find a bar, hang, feet off the floor, for 30 seconds. Once that's easy, 60. Once that's easy, 90. No swinging, no kipping, just the dead weight of your own body held. But a hang only trains your grip and your back. The Greeks needed the front of the body just as brutally conditioned, and for that, they didn't lift anything up and down. They just held it there. Hold 2, arms straight out in front of you, fists closed, and do not move them. Galen describes this being done with halteres, small stone or lead grips shaped for the hand, held rigid at shoulder height until the arms gave out. There's no swing here, no rep to count, just your deltoids fighting gravity in complete stillness, for as long as your nervous system will allow it. And this is very likely part of the reason so many surviving Greek statues share the same signature, wide, capped shoulders, without the heavy chest development a modern lifter would expect. They were not pressing weight away from their body. They were holding it there, motionless, session after session. Try it today. 2 light weights, or even just closed fists, arms straight out at shoulder height. Hold for 20 seconds. Rest. Repeat for 3 rounds. It will feel almost embarrassingly easy for the first 10 seconds. It will not feel easy by second 20. Hold 3 takes the same idea and sends it overhead. Arms straight up, fists closed, holding position for as long as the shoulders can stand it. This one attacks a different structure, the small, stabilizing muscles around the shoulder blade that almost never get trained directly, because almost no modern exercise asks the arm to simply stay locked overhead without moving. Wrestlers needed this. In a clinch, in a throw, an arm that collapses overhead is an arm that loses the fight before it starts. To build it, same setup as hold 2, just overhead instead of out front. 20 seconds, 3 rounds, building toward a full minute over several weeks. Your shoulders will shake. That shaking is the stabilizers finally being asked to do their job. 2 holds down, and so far, nobody's touched you. But wrestling was never a solo sport, and Galen knew the moment another body enters the equation, everything changes. Hold 4 needed a training partner. Stand with your arms extended, and have your partner grab your wrists and pull down. Hard, while you resist letting your arms drop. Galen lists this plainly, holding out the arms while a partner pulls down on them. This is where the training stops being unpredictable. A dead hang or a solo hold has a fixed demand, your own body weight, nothing more. A partner does not. They can pull harder, pull unevenly, pull without warning. Your nervous system has to recruit more muscle fiber just to keep up with a resistance that refuses to stay constant. What sports scientists call motor unit recruitment. And it's a big part of why partner resistance builds strength that transfers to real, unpredictable situations faster than a machine ever will. To try it, a partner or a resistance band anchored overhead if you're training alone. Arms extended, resist the pull for 15 to 20 seconds, 3 sets each side. It is a completely different kind of tired than lifting a weight up and down. But holding your ground against someone pulling you is one problem. Holding your ground against someone trying to drive straight through you is another. And that was the entire sport of wrestling. Hold 5, chest to chest, both hands braced against your partner's shoulders, each of you trying to force the other backward without either foot moving. Galen names it directly, pushing chest to chest, trying to force the opponent back. There's a reason this sits near the center of his list. It's the closest thing to a full-body isometric test that exists. Your feet, your hips, your core, your arms, your spine, every one of them has to fire together at the same time, or the whole structure buckles and you're pushed backward. This is almost identical to what the modern spine researcher Stuart McGill spent his career proving, that bracing the entire trunk under a static load builds more usable, injury-resistant core strength than any amount of crunches ever could. The Greeks arrived at the same conclusion 2,000 years earlier in a sand pit, with no research grant at all. To build it, find a partner of similar size, brace chest to chest, hands on shoulders, and try to drive each other back without letting your own feet slide. 10 to 15 seconds per round, several rounds. No partner? Brace both hands against a wall and push with everything you have for the same duration. Same, total body demand. No wrestling required. 5 holds in, and everyone has trained you to resist something. Gravity, a partner, your own body weight. The 6th and final hold Galen lists is the simplest of all, and it's the one that ties the entire system together. Hold 6. Pick up something heavy, bring it to chest height, and hold it there for as long as you can. No reps, no set number, just time. This is the most primitive exercise on the entire list, and possibly the most honest one. There's no technique to hide behind. Either your grip, your arms, your back, and your legs can keep something heavy locked at your chest, or they can't. Milo of Croton, the 6-time Olympic wrestling champion from the 6th century BC, was said to grip a pomegranate so tightly that no one could pry it from his hand without bruising the fruit. A small, almost comic detail, until you realize it's describing exactly this kind of tension, total, sustained, and completely still. To build it today, pick up something heavy, a sandbag, a loaded backpack, an awkward stone if you can find one. Bring it to your chest and hold. 30 seconds to start. Build from there. You will not want to move once you set it down. 6 holds, no barbell, no machine, not one single rep counted in any of them. And when you put all 6 together, the hang, the 2 static arm holds, the partner resistance, the chest brace, the loaded carry, you're not looking at 6 random exercises. You're looking at one system, aimed at a single outcome. A body that doesn't just move weight, but holds its ground, under any condition, for as long as it has to. Go back to that statue, the wide shoulders, the dense forearms, the complete absence of a showy chest. It isn't a stylistic accident, and it isn't the product of some workout nobody can name. It's Galen's list, carved into marble by men who trained to be still, while the rest of the ancient world was busy moving. The ancient way exists to recover what was lost. If 6 ancient holds just changed how you think about your own training, you already know what to do next.